Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Swamp Thing. This is the rebirth version of him. This is the original release. I know it came out a while ago. I never got it. It's on sale right now, or at least at the time of filming at Big Bad Toy Store. There's a link in the description below if you want to check it out. Couldn't pass it up at the sale price. They have since released an exclusive version of some sort, limited edition, glow-in-the-dark something or other with a slightly different sculpt that looks pretty cool, but this guy is still an awesome pickup overall, and at the sale price, like I said, couldn't pass it up, so that's why we're reviewing him. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Before we look at the figure, we'll take a quick look at my package. It is just a big old plain package, nothing very special. It just is big enough to get the job done, and doesn't look great or do anything fun. It's just a very basic, large package. Purpose-built. Alright, and now we can look at this guy, who stands roughly 29 centimeters. That's going to make him just about 11 and a half inches. And just for a quick comparison, well, here, we'll do Darwin first because we have to. He's quite large. He's a big fella. Let me move the camera. Oops, let me move the camera a little bit here. I'm always set up for the 6-inch figures, and then when we get the bigger ones, I don't have it ready. Alright, so can't put him in front like that. Alright, so there he is up against Darwin, and then just for comparison, man, McFarlane figures do not like standing at all. Ever. Okay. Alright. Here's a quick comparison against another green guy, Marvel Legends Super Adaptoid, who is about a 12-inch figure, slightly bigger, but boy are the proportions something to consider here. Swamp Thing is built just about perfectly. Super Adaptoid looks like a big fat doofus. Alright, we're going to be reviewing that very soon, also on sale at Big Bad Toy Store, or I wouldn't have it. Okay, question of the day. Do you like Swamp Thing? Or do you not? I imagine there are some vegans out there, some vegetarians that like this guy a whole bunch. I imagine maybe some people who hug trees. I don't know. Is that offensive nowadays? Everything's offensive nowadays. I don't know. I've always liked Swamp Thing. I don't really care for the whole, the plants things, but he's a cool looking dude if you like salads and whatever. He's just kind of cool. He's kind of corny as hell, but cool at the same time. I've liked him. Let me know what you guys think. And I actually like this version of him. I think they did a good job capturing it without making him look too goofy. Now, let's continue with the aesthetic. This guy has paint on him. There's green plastic, there's brown paint and green paint, and it's all over the place and it looks good enough. But if you wanted to bring him to life, you definitely could, because the sculpt on this guy is quite nice. There is detail everywhere. All kinds of little details. Some of the leaves look a little bit hard. Like, whoever modeled this guy definitely did some hard surface modeling and then just slapped the leaves on there without making them look more organic. Like, I'll show you a spot down here. This doesn't look very much like leaves, if you ask me, or any sort of plant life. There's some other leaves somewhere else. I don't remember where they were. Maybe it's these ones here. They just look a little hard and stiff, but whatever. They still look pretty good. And he's got tons of detail to paint if you wanted to. Looks really, really nice for what it is. It was these ones maybe back here. They look a little bit too much like armor plate. But still, he looks pretty darn cool. The face, sculpted really well. I think they could have done a little bit better with the paint. I think his eyes should have been shaded black rather than just solid black. But the red is done well. The teeth, mouth area, that looks nice. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I like the look of this guy. He might not be the best action figure ever, but he's gonna hold his spot on the shelf just fine. As is. I think I'm okay with that. That's if he can stand up, by the way. If he can stand up, he's gonna do a good job. So I'm gonna give this guy an overall rating of 9 out of 10 for the aesthetic. It's pretty darn good. The sculpt is wonderful. There is paint on there. Yeah, you could bring him to life more, but this is perfectly acceptable, even at the original price, but at the sale price, could not pass it up. What's going on there? There's some kind of schmutz on him. Okay, now as far as accessories go, you get one thing. I guess this is his tail. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not the biggest Swamp Thing fan, but apparently I think that's what you do. I think that's his tail. No, I'm joking, of course. It's a hand. It's a pokey hand. It's pretty cool. I think the exclusive one has a different head and a different hand. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. Because maybe now that I got this and I like it so much, I'll have to track that one down. But yeah, it's not a tail. However, if you keep his legs together, you can kind of just squash it right in there where his taint is. And he does have a tail. No tricks. So, okay, it falls out. There you go. That's his accessory. Other accessories include his trading card, which actually shows the figure, surprisingly. So that's okay. And his display stand, which would be helpful if it was actually any good and the figures didn't suck at standing regardless of the display stands. They only help a tiny bit. Okay, so accessory-wise, 2 out of 10. That's almost nothing. They could have really gone farther with it. Farther, whatever the phrase it would be. But the hand is okay. All right, as far as articulation goes, it's not the best. So this guy has kind of a thick neck, character-wise, and then they did not shy away from that on the action figure. They did do a good job of hiding the joints, though. Like, yeah, you can see them, but this guy's gonna look pretty good on a shelf. Anyway, thick neck. It gets a little bit gappy when he's leaning off to the side, but he can do it because of that double ball peg. So it's all right. It's not the worst thing in the world. Leaning him forward doesn't go that far down. He can look up pretty well. So he is limited by his neck to some extent, but the double ball peg saves it for sure. It works pretty well, and I personally don't mind a little bit of a gap at the I don't mind sacrificing to get a gap. I can't speak English anymore or formulate cohesive sentences. I don't mind having a gap if the neck's gonna work, and it does work. I love the versatility of a double ball peg, so that's nice. He has the usual caps that you see on these guys. That looks like it's not in place though. Can I just pop his arm off? Yeah, I can. All right. So that wasn't in place properly. We're going to push that back in. Maybe it goes... No, it has to go that way. Why is it not wanting to go in there? What did they do to my guy? That's not even close to fitting. Okay, hang on. Okay, so on this guy, those pieces don't really move freely at all. They're just there. So I just had to really, really jam it in there and it doesn't move. So you just get the regular arm rotation like this. But at least there's no big gap in there, so I guess that's okay. These guys do hide the joints pretty well. They are connected to the biceps, so that'll help a little bit. Bicep swivel's a little finicky due to the sculpt, but it's there. Alright, and then you have an elbow swivel, and a single joint, a single hinge. So that'll help with your bicep swivel a little bit if you need that. Not the best looking thing, but it's there, and hinges about 90 degrees. So that's okay. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge as well. Diaphragm joint on this guy, it's loose, and it doesn't work all that well. It leans back that far, forward that far, so not too much side to side, not too much. Rotation is okay. Now get this, he's got this giant diaper, which I don't hate on this guy, but they definitely could have cut away right here to make it look a little bit better in the abdominal section. And they didn't, because they didn't actually sculpt it down that far this time. If I do that, you can see there's not that much meat in there, but there's still almost no range at that lower joint. It's pretty bad. I can't even get it to rotate, so that lower joint sucks. And he has to have the big diaper. You can't even do too much trimming. You could trim some to make it look a little bit better, but he does have a giant diaper and really, really tall butt cheeks. Like, the butt cheek muscles go all the way up here based on the way they did the diaper. Not the best. Alright, bringing the legs forward. It's not bad. The diaper doesn't get in the way too much. It's okay. And then bringing them back, you don't get too much range going back. Going out to the side, no problem at all. Full on splits. Hey Hasbro, it can be done. And so that's pretty good. They're a little floppy in between the ratchets though. Don't like that at all. Alright, for the knees, standard double jointed knee. Perfectly good range, no issue there. And then we have actual ball hinge ankles. So that's good in theory, but the ratchets are still way too big. He's got 3 positions, so it's almost impossible to find a good one for him to stand on. And then his toe hinge is way too big and too loose and too far back, so it really hurts his stability. You do get a nice ankle rocker out of it because of the ball hinge, but this big floppy toe hinge is not good, so that's a bummer. So articulation-wise, 6 out of 10, not good enough. For an action figure, for Swamp Thing, who's just really going to stand there for the most part, I'm okay with it personally. It'll be okay. But nothing good in here, and then other issues throughout. So that's a bit of a bummer. Alright, so now it's time for the final verdict, but also we have to do a cake rating. It's been a while, and this guy does get a decent cake rating. A little asymmetrical. This one's a little bigger than this one. Not going to knock off too many points, but I will say they did carve one heck of a crevasse into that poor man's posterior. So if you don't like that, it looks like they went chopping wood. Like, why is there such a big... Anyway, he's gonna get a 7 out of 10 for the cake because there's some decent gluteus going on there. Gluteus maximus. All right, final rating on this guy. For the current price, 9.9 out of 10. For the regular retail price, it's still a pretty solid figure. I'm gonna say 8. The articulation holds it back, but the sculpt is beautiful, mostly, and it has enough paint on it to really carry it through as a collectible rather than something like this. So yeah, I recommend it. I'm gonna stick with the 8 out of 10. Or whatever number I said because I'm losing my mind. The second number, not the first one, because sale prices don't count. So otherwise, Marvel Legends would be the best line on the market at Ollie's. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos every day but Wednesday, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.